Second Corinthians chapter 5 verse 20 says, "We are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us. We implore you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God." When I read that scripture, it really struck me because I know we talk about kingdom entrepreneurship mainly in the context of this journey that God is taking you on and something that he wants to birth through you. But it brought me back to what is most important, which is our Christian faith, right? Beyond the business you want to start, beyond the things that you want to accomplish, everywhere you go, everything you do, whether within the entrepreneurial context or elsewhere, you are an ambassador of Christ. And everything you do has to reflect that. And God used this point to underscore the importance of integrity to me as a kingdom entrepreneur, is that we reflect to people Christ, whether we know it or not. So you might have found yourself in a position where, because of culture or because of the way that things can be a bit gray in the world, you compromise. You compromise your faith. And you might not even notice that you're compromising it. I found that it's very easy to find myself in conversations within boardroom settings or even within classroom settings where people lie easily or where people can cheat very easily. And sometimes, most times, these things are not grandiose criminal acts, right? They're not large offenses. But my spirit is grieved in those instances because of the conviction that I have about who I am and who I am representing. So it's a question that I like Christian entrepreneurs to ask themselves. And these are very, very small things. This can be something as simple as, you know, asking for a sick day when you're not actually sick, or faking that you're sick to get out of work, right? There's a certain level of integrity that we are called to uphold ourselves to because we are attaching the Christian name to our lives, because we are calling ourselves kingdom entrepreneurs. And you have to remember that whatever you do reflects the God that you say that you serve and will either encourage or dissuade people to serve him as well. So going back to Second Corinthians chapter 5, it said that we are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us. For a lot of us, we are the only Christ that people will ever see. Many people don't go to church. Many people are not Christians. Many people don't even believe in a God nowadays. And so, however you interact with them in your workplace, in your business meetings, wherever you find yourselves interacting with people who are not believers, or maybe other believers who are not strong in their faith, and remember that God might be trying to make an appeal to that person through you because there might be no other way that he can reach them. So there's a story that I remember I watched on TikTok, and I shared it with my mentor on our podcast, of a woman who complained to her pastor that she was being persecuted in her workplace. And the pastor said, you know, I don't believe you. And the woman didn't understand why the pastor didn't believe her. She was saying, no, they're really mean to me. They ostracize me. They treat me differently. They don't share opportunities with me. And it's because I am a Christian. I'm being persecuted. And you guys know, like, there's real persecution going on in the world for Christians. And this is just a nudge and a reminder to always pray for the persecuted church. So I'm not making light of persecution at all. But in this particular instance, the pastor was very convinced that this woman was not actually being persecuted. And he said, I don't believe you because I don't believe that you are showing up every day as Christ would show up. That is, loving people, bearing the fruits of the Spirit, being kind, being patient, being love, the love embodiment of Christ himself. And these people are still persecuting you. I think what is probably happening is that you are shoving scripture down their throat. You are being right, you're being holier than thou, you are being judgmental in a haughty way, and therefore people are hostile to you because they're naturally defensive. Remember that the way that you show your witness is through your behavior. It's not necessarily through what you say, because many people, especially if they're not believers, are not going to want to hear scripture right away, but they can live it, they can see it through the way that you live, right? But if you use the same mouth to that you say that you're a Christian to also lie and call in sick when you're not actually sick, I don't know why this keeps coming up, maybe it's for somebody who's watching, but if you use that same mouth to do that, then you are also telling people that this is how Christians live. This is what it means to be a Christian. I'm from Nigeria, and I notice something sometimes when I'm in conversations with people in Nigeria. I notice that it is more common to hear people say that you can trust when you're hiring domestic staff, you can trust people who are Muslim. that if you hire somebody who is of that faith, you can probably trust your belongings around them. You can trust them to be more diligent. And I found that very fascinating, but I also found it humbling and sobering that I've never really heard anyone say that about a Christian, at least not in this part of the world. I've never really heard someone say, I know I can hire this person, I can trust them because they're a Christian. My belongings are safe with them and they will do what they say they will do. They will work diligently. And of course, I know that there are many diligent, faithful Christians around the world, but it struck me that that brand of integrity was more associated with the Islamic faith in that part of the world than it was with Christians. And it made me ask, what are we doing? What are we doing in that space? How are we showing up to work? How are we showing up with the businesses and the things that God has placed in our hands? How are we serving and moving with integrity? How are we leading with honesty? Because if we cannot do any of those things, then none of the accolades, none of the wealth, none of the accomplishments that come out of you matter. Because ultimately, you would just be an ambassador for the wrong things. An ambassador that says lying is okay, cheating to get your way is okay, even if it's just a little bit here and there. And those are things that Christ does not want to be associated with. We have a responsibility as kingdom entrepreneurs to not taint the name of our God and to not taint our faith. So this is a call to action to urge us to take our faith very seriously and to remind us that integrity is core to kingdom entrepreneurship.